Hey, everybody, how y'all doing? Welcome back. Welcome back to the next episode of Reading with Shiloh. I'm Shiloh, baby. What's up? I'm out here. I'm tired out here. I'm out here tired. Oh, what the fuck on? Oh, that thing blurry as shit. Oh, Lord. Let's see. That's better. All right, we're back to pick up in the introduction. We are still in the introduction of the book, The Medical Apartheid by Harriet A. Washington. Oh, man. Oh, shit, I'm tired. But I'm out here, so I ain't tripping. So, hey, we got to do our 25, man. We got to work our body, then work our mind, then work our body. Yeah. So to start off, man, we got to do 25 things, man. 25 things. I don't want to do. I don't want to do 25 things right now. I'm tired of 25. But before we get started, man, let's do the 25. You know, you do your 25 things. I'm gonna do my 25. And don't BS. Don't BS. Don't BS yourself. Don't BS yourself, man. Do 25 things. 25 meaningful things. Get your heart moving. Get your, you know, let's work our body just a little bit. I don't want to do Oh, that's how I feel when I just wake up sometimes. Oh, I don't want to do it. Oh, I gotta do it. Oh, Lord, 25. 25 lighters on my dresser. Yes, sir. So I'm gonna do 25 push-ups, man. You do your 25, I'm gonna do my 25. Oh, man. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 18, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. One more. All right. Mephibosheth. Oh, shit. All right. 25, man. That's a start. That's a start. You should be able to do 25 things, man. If you can't do 25 things, something wrong. You better. 1, 2. Get a move on. Do 25 something. Shit. Get your ass up and make a move. 25 jumping jacks. 25 burpees. 25 mountain climbers. Do 25 something. 25. Do 25 some things. Whatever it is. And let's get started. We started with our body. Now let's get our mind. We started with our body. Now let's get our mind. Shit. Oh, man. All right. We'll stay down. Medical apartheid. The dark history of medical experimentation on Black Americans from colonial times to the present by Harriet A. Washington. Head busting boys. We have only started on the introduction the last time. In the last section or session of Reading with Shiloh, we only started on the introduction. So, and we only got halfway through the introduction. Matter of fact, let me get my shit together. Dictionary for words we don't know. Notebook to write down the words we don't know that we need to look up. All right, let's get it. Miss Harriet Washington, we're going to pick up where we left off in the introduction. Finding the truth in plain sight. Finding the truth Let me get together, my bad. I didn't get my shit together. Got my beard looking scruffy. All right, I'm in that thing. I'm out you. I'm out you, baby. All right. Medical apartheid. I'm out here early in the daytime when the sun is out. Medical apartheid. The truth. Finding the truth in plain sight. It is medical researchers themselves who have documented the proof of this long, unhappy history of African Americans as research subjects. Even so, this history has been a challenge to document because it has been hidden in plain sight, widely scattered, distorted, and rendered all but unrecognizable as abuse by heavy editorializing. As I recall the years I have spent ferreting out these experiments bit by bit, examining their patterns, and probing the mindsets that they revealed, I am put in mind of the legal discovery process. A favorite employee seeks, buried in towering mountains. Yeah, start that with the live setup. Looking mountains of unrelated or tangentially related documents. Similarly, I have pursued dusty antebellum medical journals, the Surgeon General's Index, its successor, the Medline database, physicians' memoirs, and literary efforts, slave narratives, and painfully picked my way through foreign publications in alien tongues that are sometimes more forthcoming than domestic publications about the history of our medical treatment of minority groups. Mining the bright but thin lodes within these resources, I gradually amassed a cache of evidence. I bet you have. As previously hidden, experimental exploits come to light. Some have challenged the characterization of such research as secret, noting that the reports were published in medical and scientific journals that could be read by anyone. But these critics would do well to weigh Marcel Pagnol's definition of secrecy. The secret is not something unrevealed, but told privately in a whisper. Until the past few decades, descriptions in medical publications of experimentations with African Americans were shielded from the eyes of the uninitiated. Generalized professional journals such as the Journal of American Medical Association and the New England Journal of Medicine are not available in bookstores or on newsstands. Oh yes, I believe so. They sound like some shit I ain't gonna find right away. Specialized medical journals in past decades. The medical libraries that house these journals have historically been closed to the public, and most remain so. Indeed, I have been challenged while entering such libraries while a student or instructor at various northern universities. Moreover, physical access to such journals would constitute only the first hurdle. The medical jargon in which such research papers are couched is often impenetrable even to well-educated non-medical people. But some of the people central to medical research have been more generous with their knowledge. Scores of researchers, physicians, and research subjects have shared their time and expertise and added depth to my understanding of the cultural divergence that has fed this history. Often they told me more than they realized. For example, a duality has persisted, as I have learned from them more than the facts of scientifically questionable and ethically troubled medical research. Whether we were discussing the etiology of tuberculosis, the gynecological surgery, or the implication of the census health status, statistics. These sources have conveyed to me Rorschach, have conveyed to me Rorschach like, what is a Rorschach? A Rorschach. It reminds me of the word, like people want to say in church, how you got the Ruach. The Ruach fell upon you, the Holy Ghost. It looked like that. Rorschach. Rorschach. Has a capital R. So it's like a name. It must be a name. Capital Rorschach. Name. I know it's a name. Have conveyed to me use Rorschach. It must be a name. It must be a doctor. Watch, it's a doctor. Dr. Rorschach. Some doctor that did some diabolical shit. In here. Rorschach. Of or related to, used in connection with or resulting from the Rorschach test. The Rorschach test. Swiss psychiatrist. A personality design. Oh, that's that shit they do for crazy people. Tell me what you see. So what do you see here? In here? Butterflies. I see a little girl. I see green clouds and skies of blue. The ink blot designs in terms that reveal intellectual and emotional factors called the what's that movie, man? It's like a superhero new movie they came out with, and that boy had that white mask on that had all them ink blots on it, and it would change. It would change the damn way it looked as his mood changed. Anyway, the overarching presence of two Americas, one healthy and white, and the other filled with sick, disaffected people of color, has haunted our discussions. Scientists who abuse, exploit, and lie to research subjects get more than their share of ink. But I have spent enough time among physician scientists to believe that most American researchers, white and black, are idealistic and skilled. However, when it comes to the abuse of African Americans, a different set of ethical standards has long prevailed, and abusive researchers have historically been closer to the norm than we would like to think. Conventional wisdom pins experimental abuses on the Dr. Frankenstein stereotype, a scientific outcast of dubious pedigree who harbors blatant social or mental maladjustment. But historically, most perpetrators of ethically troubling experiments utilizing African Americans have been overachieving adepts with sterling reputations, impressive credentials, and social skills sufficient to secure positions of great responsibility. The stereotype of the abusive researcher as a coolly admiral renegade is a stock figure borrowed by journalism from science fiction. Like all stereotypes, it is one-dimensional and therefore false. Professionally and socially, these rogue stars have much more in common with a top strata of other successful American researchers than they do with mythical madmen. In fact, Researchers who exploit African Americans were the norm for much of our nation's history, when Black patients were commonly regarded as fit subjects for nonsensical, non-therapeutic research. This book explores the many reasons that Blacks are so vulnerable, but ultimately it is because American medical researchers remain a rationally homogeneous group, a racially homogeneous group, and show how the American, oh man, oh man, the curious world of medical research. Ironically, my interest in medical research using African Americans is a direct undergrowth of my long-standing fascination with the more noble history of medicine. In fact, when asked to describe my work, I usually explain that I am a medical voyeur. I am an admirer of medicine, and when not working alongside physicians in hospitals, I have spent decades profiling, describing, and analyzing medical advances and the remarkable people who make them. In my many magazine and newspaper articles and in books that celebrate modern medical innovation, I have tried to convey the achievement, mission, and wonder of healers. My greatest challenge has usually been to avoid descending into frank hagiography. Hagiography. I don't know what that is. I do not know that. Hagiography. 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 I know ography is in there. Hagiography. Hagiography. Let's go straight to the big one. Let's go straight to the big one. This one seems to have more of the words. Haggy. Raggy. Hagi. There it goes. Hagiographer. Hagiography is how it looks like it's pronounced. Hagiography. The biography of saints or venerated persons. Hagiography. I've never heard of that. Idolizing biography. Hagiographic. Of or relating to hagiography. Of or relating to hagiographer. The third part of the Jewish scriptures. See Bible table. Hagiography. I've never heard that. The third part of the Jewish scriptures. Hagio plus Griffin to write more at carve. Man, I'm not sure what that means. I'm not sure how would you use that. How would you use that? Hagiography. This admiration began at the age 8 when Albert Schweitzer, Out of My Life and Thought, became my favorite book, an undergraduate at the University of Rochester. My favorite floor of the undergraduate library housed physicians' memoirs of a medical swashbuckler genre that included such titles as My Patients Were Zulus and Barma Doctor. These heroic renaissances of lands populated by Africans and Asians mingled adventure with medical proselytizing and constituted a guilty pleasure for me as I pored over them when I should have been reading the assigned Shawshire or genetics. I know that's not how you pronounce that word. Shawshire. Saucer. The assigned Chaucer. Chaucer. I bet it's French. What it is when it's not a syllabus. The assigned Chaucer or genetics. Chaucer. That might be a name. Fuck it. Let's mark it. These readings also constituted a guilty pleasure because, although I originally read them as accounts of selfless physicians who cared for people of color, I soon realized that these accounts reeked of xenophobia. Most were deeply disdainful of the natives on whom physicians bestowed the blessings of Western medicine and Western civilization. Because these exploits were distant in time as well as geography, I was less critical than I should have been when they sneered at the ignorant customs of superstitious natives. It all happened so long ago, I thought. Surely those colonial attitudes were dead now. I even made excuses for doctors whose disdainful observations were sprinkled with ethnic slurs, and when they congratulated themselves on conducting dramatic, not always benign experiments upon the unwitting, I accused them on the basis that all this had taken place in an unenlightened past. How could we judge them for abuses conducted under the aegis of yesterday's morals? As the years passed, these became a progressively unsatisfying rationalization, and I eventually abandoned my medical adventures. Some years later, I opened a drawer and lost the remains of my innocence. I was running a modest poison control center in a teaching hospital in upstate New York, and we poor toxicologist relations had expanded into a space that had been reluctantly yielded yielded us by radiology, a real medical department. When I opened the recalcitrant drawer, damn, for sure. I'm trying to read this great work. Some of the words, but I gotta push through. Baby. Do my part. The words will come back to me. When I opened the recalcitrant drawer of a file cabinet that had been left behind, a few forgotten medical folders from the 1970s littered its bottom. One contained the file of an older gentleman in imminent kidney failure and focused upon documenting the reams of tests and the assessments entailed in finding him the matching kidney for transplant. The social history stressed his loving family and determination to live. Another file also described the plight of an older man in kidney failure, but it looked different, thinner. The first page I read documented his odyssey into sickness as his kidneys failed. I noted, among other things, that he was retired, insured, and Negro. Nearly every page recorded his race, and someone has underlined it in his social profile. Just above the line that indicated that the medical staff's plan for him were not to secure a transplant, but to help him to prepare for his imminent demise. Oh, you're gonna die anyway, my boy. We're gonna help you ease your way out of here. It was signed by a kind erudite physician I knew and admired, and who had actively encouraged my interest in medicine. I could not reconcile this signature with the man I knew, a sensitive scholar, a devout Christian. Probably, I thought, I was jumping to conclusions, and the patient's race had nothing to do with his failure to be considered for a life-saving organ. Oh, shalom. Shalom, my son. Oh, how you doing? Oh, my boy. How you feeling this morning? Today. I can't see you. Let me look at you. Let me look at you. Ooh, look at your eyes. Ooh, look at your ears. Ooh, I wish I could see your mind. Ooh, look at your face. Look at you. Oh, you look like my son. Oh, you look like my son. All praises. All praises to the Most High. He allowed you to see another day, Mr. DG. And he gave you all that you need to succeed, son. You have all that you need to succeed. You could see me. You could hear me. You could think about me. You could talk to me. You could smell whether or not my breath funky or good. You could walk. You could come hug me. So let's make the best of it. Let's make the best of it today. Oh, let's make the best of it. You got everything. Oh, my son. Oh, my son. Oh, you're mine. Oh, you're my son. Oh, oh my sons. Oh. Oh, yes, indeed. All right. All right, let's get back to it. Hey, give me a bottle of water, please. All right. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. Oh, man. Okay. Some years later, I think I'm past that. Yeah, I'm way to the bottom. Nearly every page recorded his race, and someone had underlined it in his social profile. Just above the line that indicated that the medical staff's plans for him were not to secure a transplant, but to help him to prepare for his imminent demise. It was signed by a kind, erudite physician I knew. Oh, that's why I'm on a whole nother page. Erudite physician I knew and admired, and who had actively encouraged my interest in medicine. I could not reconcile this signature with the man I knew, a sensitive scholar and devout Christian. Probably, I thought, I was jumping to conclusions, and the patient's race had nothing to do with his failure to be considered for a life-saving organ. When I haltingly voiced my fears to an African-American acquaintance who had worked with a ward clerk in the nephrological unit, she looked at me as if I were not too bright and minced no words. Girl, black people don't got organs. Black people don't get organs. They give organs. During our ensuing debate, ooh, shit, let me write that down. Let me mark that. Girl, black people don't get organs. They give organs. What? Trying to keep my organs. You ain't get mine. Not by the hell on my chin, Mr. Physician. I will not be an organ donor. During our ensuing debate, she pointed out to me that the race bias in the hospitals were where we worked should have resolved any doubts. And in early 1980s, most of the blacks employees worked in housekeeping and clerical support. Blacks were noticeably scarce among the administrative and medical staffs. Why, she asked, was I naive enough to believe racial bias stopped at the staffing roster? Hmm. This was hardly proof, but my discomfort grew as she categorized instances after instance of overt bias and finally declared I would never have a procedure done here. I've seen too much. To them, if you're black and poor, you're nothing but a guinea pig. No, I feel that. I definitely feel that. I realized that my discomfort with her words went beyond the truth and falsity of her allegations. The mere fact that she believed them was unsettling because she had worked in a hospital setting, was presumably better informed than most, yet she did not trust the medical system and seemed less likely to turn to it when ill. The perception of evil is such in such cases, I realize, can prove as damaging as malfeasance itself. Hmm. I finally glimpsed that understanding the true extent of unethical medical research with African Americans was more than idle curiosity or an academic exercise. It was key to removing barriers between African Americans and the bounty of the American healthcare system. In the hospital's medical library, I discovered a new genre of physician confessional literature, one that describes Black patients not in Africa, but here in the United States. And unlike the African book length exploits, these often consisted of the revealing passage or two in the autobiography, a few pages in a memoir, or a hoary article in the 19th century medical journal. I recognize in these Western accounts of Black American patients that very same stereotypes belabored in African accounts. References in American physician memoirs and journal articles ones of their Black patients. The stories physicians told mixed stereotype comedy. He's written, unintelligent, fearful, distrustful, and above all, non-compliant patients. By non-compliant, doctors meant patients who could not be trusted to follow medical advice or even to act intelligently in their own best medical interests. That shit right there. See that right there? That one pisses me off. That part pisses me off. Bitch, who is you? That make me feel like, oh man. See, that's why I don't, for me, I never like going to the doctor. I never did, ever since a little boy. As you get older, there's certain things the doctor tell you just don't sound right. Something that don't sound right. Sound right. Let me do it to you. Let me do it to you. Let me try it on you first. If it's good for you, it'll be good for me. But that ain't true either. That is not true. You ain't like Kendrick Lamar say, they ain't like us. They not like us. Say it again. You just thought I didn't know I made cereal. Oh boy. Good googly moogly. I know I made cereal. Oh, great. For their part, I realize that such negative presumptions hampered physicians' ability to care for Black patients or even to see them as worthy of the same excellent care rendered to others. Which one, a matrix that characterized as racist, thus unveil a state of undeclared war. A state of undeclared war. We've been at war. We out here. We out here. or at best, an uneasy truce between physicians and their Black patients. But I knew that analyzing the history of African Americans as research subjects would necessitate more than a familiarity with history and contemporary medical literature. A sound understanding, protocols, research design, and procedures would also be necessary. And that's one of the things that I worry about when reading this book. That is one of the things that I worry about when reading this. I have some medical background, but it's been so long. It's been so long. My mother has been in school to be a RN, LPN. She is a licensed midwife right now, one of the only few Black midwives in Louisiana. So I've been dealing with medicine and things of this nature ever since I was a little boy. From her keeping body parts in the refrigerator that she had to do dissections on, that she had to dissect, that she had to do drawings and label and all these different things. So there's a lot of medical terms and medical things that I studied as a young boy, but I never wanted to. I could have been Doogie Howser, but I never wanted that. So I tried to forget a lot of that stuff because it's like in my mind, I never thought I would have to use it. It's just like learning when I was young and we learned French, we learned Spanish, but I'm like, I'll never use this. I don't know. I didn't even know a Hispanic, or a Mexican. I had never seen one until I was like 18, and we up here learning Spanish. Now I don't know no Spanish. I don't need this shit, So it's the same thing with this medical stuff, and the fact that this person, maybe it's Miss Harriet Washington, she said that she needed. She needed a basic understanding, a sound understanding of basic medical science and medical cultures, regulations, protocols, research design, and procedures will also be necessary for her research. But on top of it, it's probably going to be necessary for my research within this book. I'm going to need a basic, I'm going to have to go find a medical dictionary. It's probably what I'm going to have to look for, a medical dictionary, to see if I can get a hold of one. A medical dictionary, and I'll probably be utilizing the old like the encyclopedias. So that way, because the old encyclopedias are most likely have a lot of the old definitions. So we'll probably be. So whoever catches these and whoever watches these, as we come to medical terms and old medical terms that I do not know, well, we'll most likely be looking them up and trying to see. I'm going to go into deep research on them or a deep dive, but just the basis. We'll probably just look at surface level stuff. Look at surface level stuff in the dictionaries and the encyclopedias to see if we get an idea or maybe a mental picture of what some of these procedures, what as she says, the medical cultures, maybe the regulations, what the protocols were. We'll see if they have, as they say, you been fucked up. If they messed up, slipped up, and put some of these sayings or research finds in some of the old encyclopedias. So we'll check that out. We'll make sure to check that out. All right, let's keep going. I got a couple more pages left to finish the introduction. We're only going to finish the introduction today, and I'll come back maybe later on tonight, and we'll start with chapter 1. But let's get finished. Let's finish with the introduction. Let's continue. Man. This will require a research plan enabling me to ferret out studies in a wide variety of disciplines and subjects. Finally, I would have to speak to medical researchers, subjects, and patients about sensitive experiences. And at that time, around 1980, data on racial health disparities were sparse and anecdotal, and in any event, I felt unqualified to take on such a daunting task. I have some grounding in the basic medical sciences, but having abandoned my pre-medical studies, my knowledge was incomplete. Oh, I feel it. However, I occupied a good vantage point from which to deserve and acquire or accrue an understanding of medical research culture. I had worked in hospitals for a decade in positions ranging from ward clerk to laboratory technician to department manager, and in venues ranging from the animal laboratory to the cancer research laboratory to the psychiatric emergency department to the poison control center. The physicians from whom I worked openly discussed their work with me and were more forthcoming with me as a lowly clerk or technician than they would be by have been with a journalist. Excuse me. Hmm. I eventually left the hospital to work as an inner city medical social worker, ensconced in settings where I constantly talked to African American clients and their caregivers about their beliefs and behaviors concerning medical care and research. I then worked as a journalist, most notable as a news editor and science editor at daily metropolitan newspapers for 7 years, including a brief stint at USA Today. After that, I worked as a medical journalist, a columnist, and a contributing editor for several national magazines. My work was published by the New York Diverse as Health, USA Today, Essence, and Psychology Today, excuse me. I was also published in academic publications such as the Harvard Public Health Review, Nature, and the American Journal of Public Health, and I edited the Harvard Journal of Minority Public Health. An especially valuable experience. A monthly medical column that I wrote for Emerge magazine gave me experience in framing the issues this book explores for a general audience, and it opened a conduit for numerous first person testimonies as well. On a parallel track, I obtained a firm's scientific background by completing a pre medical course and medical science courses in immunology, toxicology, and neuroscience. As I took classes with medical and doctoral studies and postdocs, they became my best sources by relating contemporary research they had participated in. Often they confessed to being troubled by ethical concerns, and this validated my anxiety about some disquieting trends in the commercialization of medical care and in what I increasingly perceived as an erroneous erosion of informed consent to research. Academic institutions, including Stanford, Maryland, and the Medical University of Lubbock, invited me to share with their scholars what I was learning about the hidden history of experimentation within African Americans. And at the same time, I embarked upon a Harvard, medical school fellowship in medical ethics. We addressed thorny issues in the philosophy and policy of medical research and engaged in a wealth of reading seminars with important experts. But it is in my own assessments of these studies, informed by my medical ethics training, that formed the basis of the ethical analysis in this work. They stand or fall on my own logic and historical knowledge. The scope and structure of medical apartheid. I was determined that medical apartheid not to be a simplistic black hats, white hats story in which African Americans are passive victims and researchers are always villains. Instead, the book takes a frank but more nuanced look at the calculus of racism's effects on experimental practice. I have attempted to write a social history that traces the key role that various researchers have played in both promulgating and refuting racism in medicine. It was impossible and undesirable to incorporate every instance of racialized experimental abuse, racialized experimental abuse that I unearthed. This would have resulted in a long, dreary checklist of horrors and little useful insight. The bulk of questionable experimentation upon African Americans is not detailed here because much of it consists of aberrations in therapeutics that were ostensibly meant to cure. Attempts to heal that transgress against ethical rules by dramatically escalating dosages and techniques, or that involve non-material breaches of consent, are still wrong and risky, but they concern times products of honest error, and because the intent is on experiments with mammoth risks, little or no therapeutic content, or no possible benefit to the subjects. And upon mere attempts to exploitation to perfect medications, procedures, and techniques. What's up, my son? They shouldn't have anything in there that stinks. They don't have much trash in there. The trash can is not full. I put a new bag in there. No, what is in there? We need to know what's in there. I didn't put any food or anything in there. Did you put something in there? Did your brother put something in there? Yeah. That's not to what? You put something in there? What? You shot? It was you. I know it was you. It might have been you. We'll figure it out. Hey, I'll check it when I come in there. When I'm done reading, I'll check it. And if it stank, we'll take it out. Therefore, this book is not a complete chronology of abusive racial research. Rather, it is a thematical, organized collection of historical and contemporary issues in medical research with African Americans, illustrated by important cases. I also broach a discussion of such previously ignored historical themes as the fact that fraud is often a traveling partner of racially abusive research. I also explore the history of using African Americans in experimentation intended to support unflattering racial stereotypes and beliefs. African Americans have been used, for example, to perfect the IQ tests that would prove them inferior in intelligence, to devise the troponomal test, TREPONEMAL, troponomal, TRE, not E, troponomal. To devise the troponomal test that would prove them ridden with the distinctive strain of syphilis, and to perform the painful skin and visceral dissection that would prove that blackness or negritude is a permanent mark of biological inferiority that exists independent of skin color. Troponomal. TRE. What you know about? TRE. TRA. T-R-E. T-R-E-P. Treponal. Treponal. Oh, Trepone. Trepone. Treponema. 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 It doesn't have treponemol. It has treponema, treponemotis, treponeme. Let's see what the treponema is. Treponemia, nema, treponema, treponema, to turn. My bad. Any of a genus of spirochetes that are pathogenic in humans and other warm-blooded animals and include organisms causing syphilis and yaws. Treponemial. Treponial. Treponial. Treponemal. 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 Boy, it's doctor language, boy. Medical languages. Ooh. Treponemal. Treponemal. Some other important medical issues have been excluded from this work because they spill outside the strict thematic boundaries of African Americans in medical research. Despite the long and rich history of medical abuse in African and other third world countries, much of it conducted by U.S. researchers, there is no chapter detailing such research in this book. In one sense, this is akin to discussing Jewish issues without discussing Israel. But the sweeping history of such research is far too extensive to address in a single chapter, especially because it is burgeoning rather than abating. Similarly, it is impossible to capture completely the important work of African American medical researchers in a single chapter. And I have reluctantly deferred a discussion of this neglected subject, both for space reasons and because Black researchers have tended to engage in therapeutic research rather than in troubled investigations that are the subject of this work. Medical Apartheid consists of 15 chapters organized into 3 parts. Part 1, A Troubling Tradition, takes a chronological approach to the role of African Americans in early American medicine. It stresses the experimental abuse and exploitation of African Americans from the first encounters in the New World through the post-Civil War era and then up until the Tuskegee syphilis study, which began in 1932. I wonder if my grandfather had to go through that. I wonder if my grandfather had to go through that. See, my grandfather was born in 1933, and he was in the military as well. So I wonder if, the time he was in the military, if the Tuskegee experiments were still going on, and being that he was in the military, which, Tuskegee experiments was done on military men, I wonder if he was, involved or part of any experimentation done on African Americans, or so-called African Americans at that. Vulnerable subjects, children, soldiers, I just mentioned, soldiers, and hospital patients, used in research conducted by institutions ranging from the federal government to private corporations. Part 3, Race, Technology, and Medicine, examines contemporary research issues, including genetic research, investigations into emerging diseases, and bioterrorism. I bet we get a lot of that, bioterrorism. In the epilogue, Medical Research with Blacks Today, I discuss how the worst abuses have been replaced by more subtle threats to the rights of the individual to choose whether and when to participate in medical research. Finally, the appendix directs readers to a wealth of guidelines and regulations to help them navigate clinical trials. Well, that'll be good to know. But how do I look at it? How do I use it? How do I use the appendix, these notes that are going to have some stuff we're going to need? I see an index. I don't see an appendix. And while I'm looking, by the way, this is Miss, I don't know, you can't see it good. Miss Harriet A. Washington right there. Come on. Damn sucky ass camera. Oh, my eyes is better. She's like a light skinned sister. Harriet A. Washington has been a fellow in ethics at the Harvard Medical School, a fellow at the Harvard School of Public Health, and a senior research scholar in the National Center for Bioethics at Tuskegee University. As a journalist and editor, she has worked for USA Today and several other publications, has been a Knight Fellow at Stanford University, and has written for such academic forums as the Harvard Public Health Review and the New England Journal of Medicine. She lives in New York City. Why research issues still matter. There are like 2 more pages. 2 more full pages. 2 more pages front and back. About 20 minutes, maybe. Why research issues still matter. Why do centuries of mutual distrust over medical research matter today? What does the sad history of exploitative experimentation augur for Black health? What the French see in wine, Americans see in healthcare, mused Robert J. Blendon, PhD, professor of health policy and political analysis at the Harvard School of Public Health. Americans consider access to excellent health and even the most expensive means of maintaining it their birthright. Burgeoning longevity, extravagant nutrition, and everyday access to superb medical care, including expensive high technology interventions. From CAT scans on demand to hips to keep us on the tennis courts and new hearts to keep us in the game. We demand the best care, including novel, very latest and expensive remedies for increasingly marginal medical gains, has many Americans bumping up against the law of diminishing returns. At the same time, medical experts in every persuasion agree that African Americans share the most deplorable health profile in the nation by far, one that resembles that of third world countries. When Dr. Harold Friedman observed that the health status of Harlem men resembles that of Bangladesh's more closely than that of their Manhattan neighbors, he did not exaggerate. Twice as many African American babies as babies of other ethnic groups die before their first birthday. 1.5 times as many African American adults as white adults die every year. Blacks have dramatically higher rates of nearly every cancer, of AIDS, of heart disease, of diabetes, of liver disease, of infectious diseases, and they even suffer from higher rates of accidental death, homicide, and mental illness. Before they die young in droves from eminently preventable diseases, African Americans also suffer far more devastating but equally preventable disease complications, such as blindness, confinement to wheelchairs, and limb loss. Studies continue to demonstrate that, far from sharing in the bounty of American medical technology, African Americans are often bereft of high technology care, even for life-threatening conditions such as heart disease. The much bewailed racial health gap is not a gap, but a chasm wider and deeper than a mass grave. This gulf has risen our nation so dramatically that it appears as if we were considering the health profiles of people in two different countries, a medical apartheid. Researchers have preferred a cornucopia of theories for this medical divide, many of which focus upon putative biological dimorphisms, especially genetic differences. But in dissecting this shameful medical apartheid, an important cause is usually neglected: the history of ethically flawed medical experimentation with African Americans. Such research has played a pivotal role in forging the fear of medicine that helps perpetuate our nation's racial health gulf. Historically, African Americans have been subjected to exploitative, abusive, involuntary experimentation at a rate far higher than other ethnic groups. Thus, although the heightened African American wariness of medical research and institution reflects a situational hypervigilance, it is neither a baseless fear of harm nor a fear of imaginary harms. A paranoid label is often affixed to. However, not only is paranoid a misnomer, but it is also symbolic of a dangerous misunderstanding. That is why I refer to African American fears of medical professionals and institutions as itrophobia. Itrophobia. I think that's how you pronounce it. IATROPHOBIA. Maybe it's iatrophobia. The I hate you phobia. IATROPHOBIA. 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 Let me see if it's in here. One more page. Let me see the IATROPHOBIA. Here we go. Iatrogenic. Iatrophobia is not in here. Iatrophobia. I know it's not in that other dictionary. That other dictionary is used for what I consider easy shit. Iatrophobia, coined from the Greek word iotros, healer, and phobia, fear. The healer fear, or fear of the healer. But are they really healers is the question. Are they really healers? And I think that they're not. Physicians are not really healers at all. I definitely agree with the guinea pig theory. You can't be a healer if you're using me as a guinea pig. Black Iatrophobia. There we go. Iatrophobia is a fear of medicine. Even those who investigate the role of medical ethics and medical policy are trying to dissect and analyze the much decreed African American aversion to medical research without understanding the history that created that aversion. The historical cause of the racial health gap has been only crudely and curiously examined and is usually reduced to knee-jerk responses to the Tuskegee syphilis study, as if this were the only instance of problematic medical experimentation. But scores of historical events connected with medical research have plagued Black Americans and affected their health-seeking behavior. This historical silence is a grave omission because trying to ameliorate that's another word, ameliorate, Ameliorate, ameliorate. Ameliorate African American health without understanding the pertinent history. History of medical care is like trying to treat a patient without eliciting a thorough medical history, a hazardous and probable futile approach. Kill the messenger. Kill the messenger. Last page. In fact, some otherwise well-meaning people wish to censor any analysis of trouble research with African Americans. As I discovered firsthand, to my great surprise, I was elated when a professor at a U.S. medical school summoned me to her office, explaining that she wanted to hear all about the book I was writing. Ensconced in a chair, I eagerly began to describe the book I was writing. Excuse me. Ensconced in a chair, I eagerly began to describe my work, only to be cut off before I was completed to only to be cut off before I had completed the first sentence. Bolting upright in her chair, she vehemently informed me that the topic of this book was taboo. It is terrible. It is a terrible thing that you are doing. You are going to make African Americans afraid of medical research and physicians. You cannot write this book. As she glared at me, her face became contorted with anger, suffused with blood, and her breathing grew rapid. For a moment, I was stunned into silence because nothing had prepared me for her reaction. And after all, freedom of speech and academic freedom are sacred in this country. I was also a bit surprised that a white academic whose discussions and syllabus had evinced no interest and or expertise in the matter should lecture me, an experienced African American medical writer, about health communication with African Americans. She proceeded to inform me that there has been no medical research utilizing African Americans before the Tuskegee syphilis study. Certainly not in the antebellum past. And when I asked her how she knew this, she countered, "Can you prove that there was?" When I responded simply, "Yes," she disgorged a clumsy inquisition, unleashing a barrage of questions that showed she knew nothing about the subject at hand. I responded that my work was well researched and that she had raised an interesting question. Was it indeed my work that would make African Americans wary of healthcare or medical research? Or had the work of those whose abuses I proposed to chronicle already achieved this? The answer was all too obvious. I knew from years as a medical social worker, a medical journalist, and a researcher that Black Americans did not need me or anyone else to inculcate a fear of medicine. Medical history and practices had long since done so. And the medical apartheid is my attempt to document at long last, and as fully as possible how and why this has happened. Man. Oh, still seeming like a very interesting book. And that is the introduction to The Medical Apartheid by Harriet A. Washington. A dark history of medical experimentation on Black Americans from colonial times to the present, man. To the present. Definitely some words, some medical terms and words that, I don't know. I hate stumbling over words like that. I hate stumbling over shit like that. But we're gonna stumble on. We're gonna stumble on and get over them speed bumps and keep pushing on through the book, man, so we can see what we can learn and grow from Miss Harriet A. Washington in each session or episode of Reading with SHILO. And that has been today's episode and session. So like we have started recently, man. Hey, we started by working our body, then we work mind. We're going to end by working our body again. 25 things to start, 25 things to end. 25 things to start, 25 things to end. You choose, get your butt up and do something, man. Come on, man. Get your lazy ass up. Just like I got to get my lazy ass up. We can't be lazy all our life, man. We got to do something. You got to get up and do something. Make a move, make a change. You have all that you need to succeed in life today. You have all that you need to succeed. And let's start by giving ourselves a good start. At least a good pump. Get up. That's how that 25 should do you. Hit you in the gut. Get your ass up. So I did 25 push-ups somewhat. So we're going to do 25 more. 25 more. I'm going to do mine off my wood right here. You do yours where you want. Offer what you want. I'm going to do mine off of this. My stomach. Because I hate hearing my shit clack. All right, let's get it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Get your ass up. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. And one I go. Here we go. All right. Let's get it. Get your butt up. Get your behind up today, man. We got stuff to do. And we've already gotten a good start. Medical Apartheid, Harriet A. Washington. Definitely, so far, so good. Definitely an interesting read so far. We have just entered into the introduction. We've only read the introduction. We have not even gotten good into the book yet, into part 1 of the book. She says there's 3 different parts, 15 chapters. We are the next session, an episode of Reading with me, SHILO. Next episode of Reading with SHILO, we will start off chapter 1. We're going to start chapter 1 off. Chapter 1, Southern Discomfort. Southern discomfort. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Yeah, be on the lookout for that later on today. Later on tonight. I'll probably do that later on tonight. We'll see, man. So chapter 1 is I do not think I'm going to read a chapter a day. Well, I want to do that. I want to try to read a chapter a day, but the way I'm going to separate it or try to separate or section it off is by parts. Oh shit. So chapter 1 is long. So chapter 1 is long. We'll try to do. Does he have it? Okay. I'm almost done. I'm almost done reading. And Tell him pause it. Tell him wait just a second because I'm about to finish up. And as soon as I finish up, I'll come and see what he has to do and make sure he has all his papers. All right. We'll split chapter 1 up into probably 2. I'll try to make it 2. I'll try to make it 2. That's the goal we'll be shooting for. To each chapter, I would rather only have 2 sessions. 2 sessions a chapter. 2 sessions, 2 episodes a chapter, because of how the length of the chapters and because of the size of the words. The size of the words make it a little bit, I might have to pull out my magnifying glass, make it a little bit more difficult, but the chapter seems pretty lengthy, so we'll separate the chapter off in 2 parts for sure. 2 parts for sure, maybe 3 if we have to, but for sure 2 parts. And I would like to do, let me see it bring here right quick. So what is it asking you to do? Because it doesn't say on here. What is she telling you to do?
You just need to cut out and match it.
Okay. You're going to cut out and put it in the way it needs to go. All right. That's what we're going to do. That's what we got to do.
And rip it apart.
No, so I'm not going to rip it, sir, at all.
Yes.
Yes, I'm going to cut off for you. There you go. Now you get your scissors and you cut the rest. Which parts do you have to cut?
I just have to cut all of them.
Yes, but where? What are you going to cut on?
The TV?
No, sir. No, sir. You're going to cut on the black lines.
That was going to say anything.
You don't say anything. You see the black lines? That's what you cut. Use your scissors. Stay on the black lines. Cut that way. Cut 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 cuts is what you should need. Measure twice, cut once. Measure twice, cut once. Which means get what you have to cut. Look at it first. Make sure you're cutting the right thing before you cut it. Because if you don't, you might mess up. And you can't take back what you cut. You can't put it back. So you can start from this side because it's closer to the black. Up. Boom. Up. Boom. Up. Boom. Up. Yeah, I started it for you. See? I started each one of them for you. Well, here you look, Mama. You're welcome. Yes, sir. Okay. Chapter. We'll be able to do two sessions a day to eat. We're talking under 2 weeks, about a little over 2 weeks' time. If we do. But we'll see how it goes. We'll keep pushing at a time, 1 episode at a time. We're for time, a little bit here, a little there, a little, until we find something that we can learn and grow from in each of these books. And I'm going to continue doing my part to destroy the world with my reading and see what we can find. We're going to become treasure hunters. That's what we're going to be. If you rocking with me, we're going to be up here like Jacques Cousteau, diving deep into the waters of these books to try to, see what knowledge we can gain, man. What knowledge can we gain? What can we apply to our lives to help what we need to succeed? It's all up to you. You have a choice. I hope you choose the right one. I want to choose the right one. Shit. I'm out here. And because I'm out here is why I want to choose the right one. Yeah. But till next time, man, I appreciate everybody that stopped by. I appreciate everybody that's gonna catch on the back end, man, to watch the replay of it. Like, comment, subscribe. Definitely leave a comment. If you like. I appreciate everybody who showed up in the chat. Hey, man, James, Steven. Hey, appreciate that, man. Appreciate y'all leaving comments. It's much needed for the algorithm, as they say. It definitely would help the channel grow. Appreciate it, everybody. So, man, I hope y'all have a wonderful day today. Keep pushing one step at a time, man. Keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. Get off your fat ass. Get off your lazy ass. Get off of whatever type of ass you got and do something and make a change. Don't stay like that, man. Don't stay like that. You can be better. Y'all can do better. You have the ability. So, shalom, 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 man. Shalom out. Till next time. This has been Reading Shalom, man. I'm out, yo. I want you.